she said, look, I feel you really need to do something about this.
Well, I want to move on to the news that Prince Harry is releasing a memoir, because I believe this news came out since we spoke last. What do you make of this? Were you surprised? And do you think that the royal family is a bit disgruntled by this news?
Well, I'm sure that they're probably feeling slightly anxious.
To say the least.
But, the spirit of the memoir obviously comes through the inspiration of what he's been through over the last 3 years in the major exposition that he sought in relation to the emotional autopsy that he's been through, because it was one of the constituent parts of the relationship that he had established with Meghan. But when she saw the quality of how his irritation could easily move into anger and into rage, and that it was an untold rage, she said, look, I feel you really need to do something about this. And it wasn't that the rage was taken out in relation to her. It was much more to do the outrage of what was taking place in relation to the way that they were being vilified by the press.
Right.
And so he's been through 3 years of in-depth psychotherapy. And there are 3 constituent parts, one is complete honesty, complete transparency. The second is transformation. And the third is transmutation, of turning negative into positive. And so I believe the spirit of what he's been through has provided him with an extraordinarily clear landscape of what he was experiencing before, from a position of great depth, from an emotional point of view. And they both speak very spiritually. They're in the sense of wanting to be charitable, wanting to be engaged in inclusivity, in human dignity, and common respect. I mean, that's what I mean by spiritual virtues.
Right.
So I'm sure that the memoir will be punctured full of these qualities of action. And there won't be anything in terms of accusation, not at all. He's in a situation of transformation, which is about in support and in full responsibility for his position in relation to, the establishment, where his brother will be in a few years' time. In terms of his own ascendancy within the royal family, et cetera, et cetera. So really remarkable. And I'm sure he's going to be, 150% in support of all the troops that he worked with, all the men and women that he worked with in Afghanistan, because that moved him very deeply.